I feel like I've been in like a torture chamber over this whole 6 months of Mars opposing Pluto, Pluto opposing Mars. And it's just toxic masculinity that's like, we all see it, we all know it, but it's like, for some reason, the way the cosmos are working right now has everybody acting like they didn't see this shit coming. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that there's some of us that are either more self-aware or just more in tune with the energy that are just like, and I train in this, so part of this has been like, how are you going to work this? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you going to mold this to your favor? And I think a lot of you guys are like in that process of figuring that out. I think the challenging thing is that there's so much innovation right now with Pluto and Aquarius that it's almost like we can't plan for this the way we're used to, right? We can't, there's no statistics around this. Like, the experimentation is like next level on that note. Do you know what I'm saying? And so the thing that is so irritating and challenging and frustrating is that we're literally working around this like idiocracy that's so voluminous. It is so loud. It is so obvious. It hurts. It's so obvious it hurts. And I'm like, it's almost like if you feed it, if you talk about it, you're only going to bring more of it to your doorstep, right? Like attracts like. So if you're just going to act frustrated or a victim to it, then you're going to call more of that in. But if you don't say anything, it's like everybody and their brother who has a hard time stomaching it is going to be at your doorstep calling you some kind of entitled or privileged for not talking about it. And it's like, no, you're just late to the party. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, how about we find a way to, like, I don't know, Play-Doh this shit into something? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, mold it into something that actually... And as a reader, that's like literally all I'm seeing right now. And it's almost like it's so much so that I'm like seeing other readers, I'm seeing other healers, I'm seeing people who are like, I'm on the other side of I'm on the wrong side of the algorithm right now. Like, I have like the weirdest people in my comments. I've seen many healers, many practitioners, even therapists like having this kind of reaction right now. And that's an aspect of Pisces. That's an aspect of enlightenment. That's an aspect of alchemy. That's the journey that we're on in terms of elevating and moving upwards. But there's so much that has to do with children. There's so much that has to do with kids. And I feel like I keep trying to talk about it without talking about it. And I'm just tired of doing that. So I'm just talking about it. I'm just like putting it out there for you guys. Like, bing, boom, bop, here we go. Like, let's just say it like we mean it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just getting old. And the cards coming through is just, there's so much judgment coming from that side of the table. Like the narcissists and those who are less self-aware, those who are like newly awake, and there's so much judgment coming from that side of the table, and everybody's like pointing fingers and like trying to point out enemies, and cancel culture is just like suffocating on that level. And then there's those of you guys who are more enlightened and have been on this journey for a while, and you're like trying to find a way to like make something of it, but it's like a sandcastle. It's like a wet sandcastle. It's just kind of like bleh. And it's because there's not enough people on board. And I think in times like this, you have to become the mess. You have to flow with the mess. You have to create with the mess. And you have to almost like, I see myself sometimes being like pulled in different directions and just not becoming any of those things. Like getting pulled and experiencing them and feeling them, but not actually becoming them. And one of the hardest things that I'm experiencing right now is like depression anytime I take on a narcissistic entity. And it's the hardest one to break. It's the hardest one to like cast out, is this depression and this feeling like everything is pointless and worthless and is not, worth because there's so many people feeding that narrative right now. There's so many people, empath or narcissist, feeding that narrative of everything is pointless, everything is useless, everything's going to shit. And I think if you state that and you think like that, then you're gonna call that in. Of course, there is going to be some example that is going to validate that way of thinking, no matter where you look. But again, we collectively create this reality, just like you yourself creates your own reality. And I think the whole thing here is like, if we don't collectively start creating a better reality, we're going to be miserable. We have 4 years of mind desensitization training going on right now. And I think the more that we can like shift to see it like that, the better off we'll be. And I think the most challenging part about this quarter of it is like this quarter is Pisces North Node. So anyone looking to grow and expand and manifest during this whole year or so is a year and a half, is literally gonna have to do so in acceptance of endings, acceptance of completion of cycles, acceptance of secrets being revealed, which can make you angry, which can make you paranoid, which can turn you into a conspiracy theorist and a jaded angry human, victim mentality ridden human. But Pisces is actually like a superpower if you use it from that angle of you are completing something, you are accessing secrets, you are accessing keys through this process. And then when you access that and you ground it back into the earth and you bring something to the world through that, right? That's when that becomes a manifesting power. But the problem with Pisces is it's really hard to get the kind of like sturdy relationships, sturdy community. It's like we can't grip to the old. We're gonna have to let ourselves literally flow and be pulled and be shifted through all of this energy. And when I talk about this, I have like this fear energy rising up. There's like so many people in fear because of Pisces as well. It is gonna make you face your fears. So if you're someone who's not normally used to facing your fears, or you're used to projecting them onto a narrative like that thing's so scary, or they're evil, or they're this, or they're that. If you're used to doing that, right, then you're gonna have a hard time throughout this Pisces North Node, because this is a time of integrating those fears and making them work for you rather than work against you. This is a time of facing those fears and putting them into action some way. And those fears basically keep you disconnected from the earth, disconnected from the physical realm. They keep your root blocked, and they keep you in this energy where everything is just up here in your head and up here in the ether, and there's no grounding, there's no physical foundation, there's no sturdiness there's no roots. So you're just floating in consciousness that is dark and unsteady. So I hope that this helps you see these astrological transits in this time through a new light. And it's so funny, as I'm doing this entire reading, there's like I'm next to the pool and there's like kids just screaming, and that's literally what I want you to start looking at the world as. When it gets loud, when it gets chaotic, when it gets scary, when it gets cruel, and when it gets just absurd, when people are just saying the meanest, nastiest things, when people are doing the harshest, just worst things, I want you to look at them as screaming children at the pool, pissing in it, making a mess, running, waking up the neighbors. They're just kids. They're just looking for attention.